Fishers, it's still crap weather. I'd like to say it's fantastic and you need to be out there, but goodness gracious me, it's really tough at the moment. I mean, look, the fishing's pretty good in a lot of areas, but there is some pretty poor areas at the moment as well. Murrumbidgee River around Wagga, it shouldn't be long before it kicks into gear. Went down and had a look at a couple of minutes ago just before I did the report, and it's summertime flows, which is not an issue because I don't mind that at all, but it's still pretty dirty. I did notice though, you've got about 1.5 foot viz, so give it another week. If we don't get any more heavy rain, great, but keep in mind if we get heavy rain, it's not going to improve too much. They are letting water out of Burrinjuck at the moment, which tends to clear the river system up because they haven't let much water or hardly any water out of Blowing or Burrinjuck. All the water we got coming down is from the creeks and they always run red, so that's the story in the river. Getting a few crays. If you want to get some crays though, Hume Weir down in Wagga, I'm getting amazing reports from there. I mentioned it last week and the week before, but look, since the opening of the season, that's been the hot spot. It really is cracking down there. Couple of reports from Wagga, the odd decent cod getting caught, but look, they're really doing it tough down there. Pretty much the same as the river here. We're not having much joy, I can tell you now. But where some of the good reports are coming from, Dartmouth, very happy. All the trout fishers down there are doing quite okay. Flatline trolling's okay. Gudgeons under bubble float seems to be doing the job nicely. Even a scrubworm under a bubble float will do it nicely. All the streams in Vic are closed, the same as New South Wales. Hume Weir, getting a few more reports showing up from the Hume Weir. Some reasonable quality trout coming out of it. Most of the trout are getting caught on the troll. A couple of old fellas have been fishing the bank down there. I put myself in that category, an old fella, but they've been fishing the bank with worms down the Hume Weir, and they're getting some very nice yellow belly and red fins, 3 or 4 each day down there, so it's not too bad. So there's a little bit of activity. That usually doesn't start for another 3, 4, 5 weeks, but seems to have kicked in. The trout, keep your eye on that one because I reckon over the next week or two you'll get some big numbers of trout down the Hume Weir. We've got our fingers crossed on that, and they're very good quality. Blowing Dam, top end of Blowing, still producing a few nice rainbows, happy with that. Last Saturday morning, 7:30, there was a cod well over a metre caught on the troll. There is a few decent sized fish getting caught at Blowing if you put the time and effort in. Cold conditions, I must admit, but like the fish are there and they're moving. Talbingo, certainly worth a look. Sioux City End, absolute must at the moment. Lobbs Hole up towards Sioux City, getting some reasonable trout, trolling with fenders and worms, or even a fender with a little crick hopper behind. Seems to cut it there quite nicely there. Also Yukonbean, Tentangra and Jindabyne, our 3 snowy dams, fishing very nicely, thank you very much. Plenty of trout coming out, no shortage of fish up there whatsoever. Weather conditions might play a big part in it, but certainly the trout love these type of conditions, so we're getting plenty up there. Burrinjuck, we've had a few reports flowing in from the Juck. They're getting the odd yellow, the odd cod out of it. You know, it's tough work obviously, and the conditions haven't been great, but you'll get a few fish. Wangler, it's fishing reasonably well. Off the bank with bait seems to be better there. All these dams are rising at the moment, so it looks real promising. Down the south coast, it's going to be a bit of a wipeout until about next Wednesday. Some really heavy winds blowing up down there, and the conditions are pretty poor. Well, this is Compleat Anglers Fishing Report for this week. We'll catch you again next week.